And that brings us to 7:53. Today's News Extra program is brought to you by First State Bank, and here's Kevin Mooney.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. Very pleased to have Senator Mike Johanns here before he does his town hall meeting over at the Platte Valley Bank's community room at 8 o'clock this morning. So if you're heading over there, we're going to kind of give you a preview. Welcome. Good to see you. You look good.
Yeah, you do too. Good to see you, Kevin.
All right. Let's start off right away. The continuing resolution coming up here at the end of September. A lot of talk about people voting not for the continuing resolution because they don't want to fund Obamacare anymore. What's your thoughts about that?
I don't like Obamacare any better than anybody else. Here's what I'd say, though, and I've been saying this along, they really picked the wrong strategy. About 80% of Obamacare would continue no matter what you did with the continuing resolution. The individual mandate will continue. The taxes that you're required to pay under Obamacare will continue. Companies will continue to have to decide what they do with their employees. The federal subsidies will continue. 26 million people going on Medicaid, that's not going to change. And so at the end of the day, Kevin, if I were to say to you, we'll shut down the government versus funding Obamacare, the reality is 85% of it, 80% of it's going to go on just like the continuing resolution was passed. So I think it's the wrong strategy is the best way of putting it.
All right. But maybe try to get somehow in this discussion after you get back some way to maybe do some budget cutting while you're also talking about this continuing resolution.
You know, we've had good success in dealing with the discretionary part of the budget. You know, that piece of it is the spending is coming down, and people don't like the sequester, but quite honestly, it is drawing down on spending, no doubt about it. The real issue for the federal budget is, you know, where the money is spent. It's big entitlement programs, and I always say to people, you know, the problem is my generation, the baby boomers, we're getting to that age.
You and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it will be Social Security, it will be Medicare, and those are expensive programs, and the reality is that's really the toughest part to fix because people don't like you messing with that, but somehow, some way, we got to come to grips with that because it's not on a sustainable course. But on the discretionary piece, I'd like to see some more spending cuts in this continuing resolution, and I think we're heading in the right direction there. But the big majority of spending is not the discretionary piece of the federal budget; it's the entitlements.
Okay. Farm bill. I know you guys passed a farm bill. The House is working on disjointed farm bill. They've kind of passed the commodity version, but not the nutrition version. What's your thoughts about us ever getting this to conference and then getting something done?
Well, just a week or so ago, the Senate appointed conferees, and so that is definitely a good sign. The House talks about appointing conferees in September. So if you get, you know, two sides in the same room and starting to work through this, I think you got a chance of getting a farm bill. We need to get it done by the end of September. That's a hard deadline. So a lot of work needs to be done. The House decided to split it. There's always been a debate. Should we, you know, cast off nutrition programs into another bill and do the farm bill separately? The only thing I'd say about that is we could get to a point where it'd be very, very difficult to get a farm bill passed because you have so many congressional districts that have really no farms or ranches whatsoever. They're totally urban. And I think there's a real downside to that approach. But with conferees, there's a chance that we can get this done. I hope we can.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back. All right, we are back on News Extra. We're very pleased to have Senator Mike Johanns here before he does his town hall meeting over the Platte Valley Bank community room here this morning, shortly after 8 o'clock. Let's talk about taxes a little bit. You think we're gonna get anything done in modifying taxes at all in this with this Congress?
There's a lot of work going on the House side. They've been working on this, and of course, Congressman Adrian Smith is on the Ways and Means
Yeah,
Committee. So.
yeah, he talks about the fact he's working on it.
Yep. So he's right in the thick of it, and I'm optimistic that we'll get a House bill. I'm not as optimistic on the Senate side. Senator Harry Reid, the majority leader, just a week or so ago said, well, the starting point is $1 trillion in new tax revenue. And I don't even think he can get Democrats to vote for that. So it really splashed cold water on the whole idea of tax reform. But a long overdue issue needs to be done. House, I think, will take some good steps, and this is one where I believe the Senate needs to get on board and simplify our tax code.
Is there any possible way he could? Where does he come up with $1 trillion? I mean, how does he?
I think he
come up
picked,
with those figures.
I think he picked it out of the air, to be honest with you, and I think his intention was to stop it for now. Why, I have no idea, but there's no way he would get even a majority vote on $1 trillion of new revenue. It isn't going to happen.
Yeah. Real quickly, immigration. What do you? Are we maybe going to get something done with immigration this year, or maybe even next year before we start getting into the election cycle?
We're a long way off. You know, the Senate bill did pass. I was not a fan of the Senate bill and voted against it. But having said that, it got a lot of votes and it did pass. And now it's over on the House side. They've taken a very different approach. They're saying we'll take a bite of the apple at a time. We'll pass this and then see how that works and then maybe do something else. So the problem with that, of course, is that you'll never get a common bill. You've got to have identical bills ultimately passed by the House and the Senate. At the moment, that doesn't look like it's going to happen.
So you'll have to get it conferenced somehow, right?
If the House can pass something that could
Yeah.
go to conference.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I wish I had more time to talk to you. Real quick, retirement. What do you think about retirement? What Steph think about it? You guys looking forward to it?
I say to Steph, I wake up in the middle of the night, I look over at her, and she's sleeping soundly with a big smile on her face. We're ready. You know, it's time. We're given the opportunity, Kevin, we'd do this all over again. And what a great honor it's been to serve the state. But I've always believed that new blood is a good thing too, and new ideas, new energy. Why not? Why wouldn't you want that? So I'm excited about what's next. Don't know exactly what that will be. Hopefully a little more flexibility in the schedule and an opportunity to spend more time together with kids and grandkids and with our faith. That's really what this is about.
All right. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.